All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to luxury listings. So I want to go through today. We'll spend the next hour talking about luxury listings, and there's a couple of components that we want to go through. We want to talk about the designations, so some of the things that are available to become a luxury agent with the luxury designations that are out there. And then we will talk about the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Commonwealth programs that are available, and through Berkshire Hathaway Home Services as well, for your luxury listing, so that when you're prepping for a listing appointment, you're going in adequately armed with materials. I know I see Denise Price on here too, so hopefully she can add in too, but I'm going to show you some samples of what our listing presentation stuff looks like, what the brochures look like, and talk a little bit about the listing from a standpoint of the conversations that you're having with folks and how you're, again, prepping to go in to make sure that you are unique and distinctive, and utilizing all the tools that we have here at the company to differentiate yourself from the other agents that you're up against in that competitive market. Okay, sound like a good plan to everybody? All right, so I'm going to start first with the certified designation for the agent. So we do have, Berkshire Hathaway does have a certified luxury agent designation available at the Berkshire Hathaway level. We do try to keep an eye on that, but for those of you that think you may have qualified and have not yet gotten it, or some of you may need to go in and make sure that it's staying updated. What happens is, once you do at least 3 properties that are in the top 10% of the market, so that top 10% of the market is what defines a property as a luxury property, and that does break down by zip code, just so you know. It's not just by town or city and community, it's actually broken down by zip code. We have those levels available, so when you're getting ready to go into a listing, or if you've done some sales and you want to see if they qualify, let me know and we can take a look to see if you qualify for that certification. Once you certify, there's an easy form online to go online and update that. It is sales. It's those 3 sales within the last 24 months. And then as you roll forward, you do need to maintain sales to keep that designation. Now, outside of the company, what I do want to mention, there is a program called, it's through the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. They have a certified luxury home marketing specialist that you can earn as a designation as well. They also do have sale requirements, but there is a course that you can go through with them to talk about the marketing of properties and the exposure and the conversations and how to target clients, et cetera. So you've got a couple of options there to keep yourself as an agent certified in the luxury market. Now, you do not have to be a certified luxury agent to list a luxury home. So any opportunity that you have where you have a listing presentation coming up and you believe it may qualify as a luxury property, make sure you're reaching out to myself or the admins to talk about what the zip code, what the address and zip code is, and what you think the pricing is going to look like, so we can tell you if a luxury presentation is actually warranted. Okay, and you want to know that because you want to go armed in with the right information when you put your materials together and when you go in and actually do that presentation. Now there's 2, so that's the luxury component, and I'm going to break down we're going to talk a little bit about all the marketing and things that are done at the Berkshire Hathaway level, all the marketing and things that are available at the Commonwealth level. But there's another component in here that sometimes gets confusing, but we do have a tiered marketing program here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Commonwealth as well. Now the tiered marketing program kicks in at $1 million and up. There are some qualifications that you need to go in the program, so it's not every property over $1 million. But something may not actually be in a true luxury market in that particular zip code because it's so high, but still qualify for something in our tiered marketing. Example, we just listed something in Newton recently that I think it came on at 1.6, but the top 10% of that zip code is over 2.2. And so it doesn't actually qualify as a luxury property, but because of its status and because of its price point, it did qualify under the tiered marketing program. And so I'll show you some of the components of that, where to find the collateral materials and get more information on that. Just so you know, marketing is actually in the process of updating those materials. The new materials are not yet available, but the collateral pieces that you'll have for the clients will be updated over, I'm assuming, this next month or 2 at the most. Okay, so just so you keep that in mind. So where do the tier marketings kick in? The tiered marketings is 3 different tiers. The first level is $1 million to $1.5 million, and that is your sapphire level. 1.5 to 2.5 is ruby, and 2.5 and up is diamond. So I'm going to go into a share screen here so that I want to pull up and show you a couple of these on the tiers. Keep in mind when you're doing your tiered marketing pieces, make sure that you, or you think you want to put a property into tiered marketing, make sure that you get a minimum of a 6-month contract, and make sure you're getting nothing less than a 5% commission, because anything that doesn't meet the contract qualifications will actually eliminate it from the programs. So what you're seeing here is the diamond tiered marketing sheet at the moment for the tiered marketing advantage. Again, these are being redone, thankfully, but it does break out the components of the marketing. This is a piece that should go with you, and you should be familiar with this before you go into the opportunity. This would be something that was a $2.5 million up on the diamond program, and it does walk through, you know, all the different components, the flyers, the professional photography, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in terms of how do you get ready to do those listings. The other piece that's really important in here is the publications and the exposure that they will get through Berkshire Hathaway Commonwealth when they list with us. Again, when you're going into these opportunities, if you touch base with me ahead of time, we can actually help you set it up so that you understand what the next deadlines are for some of these publications. So that might help you secure that listing as you go forward. Okay. So I just wanted to give you sort of the high end from the front, the tiered marketing, the luxury, which is top 10%, and then you've got designations for agents. So there's kind of 3 different components there that you need to keep in mind. And we're going to come back to some of the tiered marketing. Keep in mind on the tiered marketing program, though, I know in some of our markets, especially, we've got properties at over $1 million. There is sort of a level of, you know, that the properties needs to have, be in a state of luxury, which the definition of that in terms is the state of great comfort and extravagant living. So we're not talking about, you know, the $1 million property that is $1 million just because of where it's located, but it isn't truly a unique or a special kind of property. So just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, this qualifies for single families only. So you are talking about luxury at the single family. You're not talking about the investment properties at all when we're talking about tiered marketing. So let's start with, I'm going to first go through and show you a listing. We'll go into the listing presentation here. I'm going to show you a sample. So listing presentations, there's a couple of places that you can do your listing presentation out of. Toolkit CMA, which is the most common one that we're utilizing, does have the luxury collection, and it has a luxury collection that's going to print on luxury paper. We do keep updated paper. We do keep CMA covers in the heat machine in the offices. For the higher level properties, we do have a metal CMA case and cover that's available in the office. So if you have those opportunities coming up, reach out to us and we'll let you know or get you access to that. Those, again, we use those metal covers. They run about $75 a piece. So we're using those for true luxury properties or the higher end of the market. This is just a sample. I just did a quick sample of the luxury presentation that comes out of Toolkit CMA. Obviously, you're going to update quite a bit of information in there and put your properties in, but this is the format. It goes through the goals with them, marketing the property, how to establish a pricing strategy, and the service that we provide. You know, there are a lot of pages in there that you can pick and choose. I would recommend for those of you that are still in the process of familiarizing yourself, with the program, this is a great way to familiarize yourself with what the offerings are, because a lot of that's outlined in the Toolkit CMA. Okay. So you want to start from the very beginning with the materials that you go in. For those of you that are also going in to do presentations, if you've not sort of put together a portfolio of items to bring with you, you do want to make sure that you do that. We do keep in the office many of the publications that you have the possibility of getting your property in. So those include Unique Homes magazines, which we have updated copies, and I'll show you where the tear sheets are that you can print out in the Berkshire Hathaway Common Move section. Prestige magazine, when properties are over 4 million, they have potential access to the DuPont registry as well. And so we want to make sure that you have some materials with you to show folks. You also want to have some samples of the luxury brochures, which I'll show you in a second here as well too. So this is something that you'll want to go in, familiarize yourself with, get into that toolkit CMA, maybe print one out, take a look at it, take a look at the different components, what the conversation is that they're having with the client. In a minute, we're going to go through some tips just in general when you're dealing with those luxury listings for things to keep in mind. But, going in with the right materials and being able to have the right conversation and the right marketing is going to be critical, because these properties are unique, and they need to be able to attract the affluent buyer. So this is not just a property that gets thrown out into MLS and, hopes for the right person to step up. You want to make sure that you're going above and beyond to attract the right individuals. And in here, you'll see some of the things that we've been talking about in terms of exposure. Okay, questions on the toolkit CMA component or the presentation piece? Let me show you some sample brochures. So for those of you that don't have, you've not had yet a luxury brochure, luxury listing. Let's turn this so we can actually see it. How's that better? For those of you that have not had a luxury listing, we do have some samples in the office that you can sort of grab and go. Pull this down so I can get back to my screen here. Hold on one second. Sorry. This is just one sample from Judy. I'm going to show you a different format that not most times, but almost all the time for the luxury listings, the brochure will be sent out to print. They will not be printed in-house. They'll be professionally done. And again, we do have some samples in the office that you can grab and put in that portfolio when you're prepping for your listing appointment to make sure that you can show them the caliber. Let me show you another one here. Let's show you, where's the other one? Glendale. So this is another look as well. Sorry, these are flipping. I thought I flipped them before. This is another good one. Go here. This is the, go down. Sorry, I can't seem to scroll for some reason. But, again, high-end, high-quality, heavy gloss material. You do need to ensure that you do professional photos for a luxury listing. You want to have a high-end person that can handle high-end photos. I know Carrie Howell out of our Newton office does a lot of our high-end luxury listings. She does an amazing job of putting the property in the right picture, if you will, or prepping the property for the right pictures. And she also does the Matterport tours, because many times with these luxury properties, a Matterport tour will be demanded, if not actually required, because it'll be a nice walkthrough for folks before they come to the house. Okay, so this has to do with actually marketing the property and getting it out there. Let me go back to, sorry. So when you go into our library out on, I can tell you exactly where this is located so you can find it. If you go into our library under the luxury and under the agents, if you go to the news site, which is through BHHS resource, and go into common resources, there is an agent library. And in that agent library, there is a luxury folder, if you will. And so there's some good information in there for you. There's tear sheets from the current magazines. What the tear sheet gives you, it gives you the cover of the magazine and the latest ads. And those are out there by month, and we'll pop over to those in a minute so I can show you what those look like. But those are also good to print out on the high quality paper and include in your portfolio when you go in to meet with clients. This piece that's out there for you is a good way to familiarize yourself with all the benefits for the seller. So this is a document that's for you. This is not to work with the client, because the client would use the other pieces I was showing you in the tiered marketing. This is for you to understand what happens with that tiered marketing program, how things are syndicated out. So when you look at the syndication, so it tells you the 40 websites, and it will go through the websites. There is a Berkshire Hathaway luxury site. If you go to BHHS, where did I write that? BHHSluxurycollection.com is the Berkshire Hathaway luxury website. So you can take a look at that. It does talk about the syndication out to July, to Mansion Global, Wall Street Journal, including in the European markets, which is of great appeal typically in the luxury markets. It does talk about videos, the professional flyers, direct mailers being done, getting that property e-blast out there, professional staging if it's if it's a requirement of that house or if it would be recommended. Always making sure you're getting the professional photography. I'm going to talk about some of the options for social media posts in a minute. I'll show you some of the tools that are out there and for the mobile campaigns and ads, etc. So there are magazine advertising, mobile online ad campaigns, virtual home tours, custom property websites when you go over the 1.5 million. So there's all kinds of options. Twilight open houses when you get up over the 2.5 million. There's all kinds of options when you get into these properties, depending on what level or what price point the property's at. One note I would recommend, and we've used this, actually Carrie Howell does an amazing job at this as well. When you get into the luxury properties, twilight photo shoots are amazing. They are absolutely stunning and beautiful. Should have had one to sample to show you, but they can make a real difference and really help that property stand out from the other properties that are in the market when you hit MLS, but more importantly, when it syndicates out to the other sites. Because it really will, especially when you get into the special lighting that a lot of these houses have, it just really makes those houses shine. Questions on sort of setting things up and what kind of things as an agent you're going to want to make sure that you do?
I have a question.
Sure.
I might have missed that you said this, but luxury collection means over 1 million or no?
So luxury collection is top 10% of the market.
Okay.
Of that zip code. And tiered marketing, our tiered marketing program kicks in at 1 million and up into the 3 tiers. Does that help?
Yeah. So then in the when you're doing on Toolkit, there's the different pages that talk about all of the websites.
Mm-hmm.
That's not for every listing. Like that shouldn't be included in a proposal that is not a luxury listing.
So there's a special luxury presentation that should only be done if the property qualifies in the top 10% of the market.
And that's in Toolkit, so it's separate.
And that's in Toolkit separate. You'll see when you go into Toolkit, that's a good question though. Yeah, it is a separate presentation.
Okay.
That has the appropriate material because it's a luxury top 10% of the market.
Okay, thanks.
Good. And that's also a good way to educate yourself on the types of things that are being done, right? So that's another good way to go in. Good. Any other questions? So let me show you, I want to go into, let me go into common resources.org. You go into commonresources.org, and by the way, a lot of this stuff is moving over into the BHHS resource, so I think it'll eventually all be in there. Right now, the digital brochures isn't over there yet. But when you go here and you go to digital brochures, and you come down to the tier marketing program tear sheets, this is what I was referring to in the different magazines. So there's a whole library out there of all the magazines that have come out. So if I go to the latest October 2020 that's out here, actually I think there's a 2021 that's coming out, but it'll show you the cover of the magazine and then it will have our ad right behind it so that you can double side print it out on the good paper in the office or the nice high-end paper. And so you can have some samples of the ads to show anybody that you're going in to do a presentation for. Okay. And so you should have these tear sheets. And again, it's not something you do like right now, but when you have that opportunity, if you reach out to your admin, they can help you get these ready. Here's the latest Prestige Home article, a magazine with the cover. Again, this was from the fall. And then this shows the Commonwealth ad in the properties that were in there. So it will help to show the company's inventory, if you will, as well, when you're trying to win that luxury collection. Okay. And you can use a couple different ones of these. There's a Prestige, and then you also have the Unique Homes. And again, you've got the cover, and then you've got our properties in there so that you can actually see. So this is the Commonwealth page with the Commonwealth properties that are in there. So you're getting exposure in all of these magazines, and you want to show really that the company has had these types of properties out there in the magazines. I think magazines are one of, from the luxury market, the print media for luxury magazines is still alive and well as the online. Whereas when you're getting into the lower end listings, right, we've pretty much completely gotten away from print magazines. So it hasn't been something that we've needed to keep up with. So any questions on the tear sheet? So when you're going out, you're looking at a luxury presentation on a Toolkit CMA, or there are luxury presentations in the library. There's one in BHHS resource. You'll see that our toolkit is incorporated the BHHS resource material into the Toolkit CMA. Okay, so you'll do a luxury Toolkit CMA with, if appropriate, a metal cover, a metal CMA cover, at least if minimum heat bound, so that it's in good presentation. You want to have samples of these magazines and or tear pages to show clients. You want to make sure you're bringing in some sample brochures so that you can demonstrate the quality that's going to go into the brochures. We do have some that are 8-page brochures. So for the higher end, in our sample kits that are in each of the offices. So the admins, if you go in, can help you pull some of this material so that you can have it. I would say don't do that now if you don't have that opportunity, but remember that that's there so that when you do go in to get the information, you have the most current, up-to-date stuff. And then where appropriate, you'll grab the appropriate tiered marketing folder. So there's sapphire, ruby, and diamond folders set up that have all the collateral material that apply to that price point and up. Okay, so again, it's the 1 to 1.5 is the sapphire, 1.5 to 2.5 is the ruby, and then 2.5 up is diamond, and those folders are separated out based on the price point. So before you go in to grab your materials, you need to have an idea of what where your property is going to fall. You know, what price range approximately it's going to fall into. Please remember, don't price a property to try to hit a level when it doesn't apply. If it's really not that type of property, one, you're going to hurt the marketing of that, but it will get actually kicked back. If we, try to overprice something just to get it into a program, isn't going to serve anybody well in the long term. I don't think I need to say that, but just in case, to make sure we cover our bases on that. So let me go over, I'm going to go over to the BHHS resource. Let me go into Chrome. That works better in Chrome. I want to show you some of the stuff that's available here, because again, this is about having the right resources, right? And getting that right marketing going. So if I go into the resource center and I go into, so this luxury collection component that's here, the click will just kind of tell you about the luxury program and the designation that we were talking about. So it'll take you to the luxury site and it will take you to the application form to fill out to get your designation form. But if I go into the marketing resource center, come on website, if you go into the marketing resource center, I think it's going over because I've already was in here. No, okay. You're going to go into the specialty marketing here tab. Let me make sure I'm on the right internet connection here. Now, the specialty marketing includes everything: resort properties, luxury, multicultural, and military. So I'm going to take those out just so you see the luxury search here. So I'm taking out the resort. I'm going to do luxury collection. Again, remember, some of this collateral material is available in different languages. But so if we just look at the luxury collection, let me make sure this is refreshed. You're going to get all kinds of materials that you can utilize on all different platforms. So you're going to get there's little social media pieces. There's postcards, luxury postcard samples, which, by the way, we do have postcard samples as well available in the office for you to add to your portfolio when you go in to talk to those folks. But there's Instagram stories, there's social media posting stuff. You want to get in and play around with this a little bit and hopefully create a couple of pieces that you can share with that person through email, or print out and take with them as a sample to show them some of the things that you could do for them. Okay. There's marketing campaigns in here, one-page ads to use if you want to target the luxury market. If you are a luxury agent, there's e-cards in here. So all kinds of collateral material that you can use that's already been developed for you. They then also take like things like the Prestige. This one here is the Prestige magazine cover for summer. And if you click on things like that as an agent in here, that will help brand it. It'll produce a piece that's branded to you. So you can see on here on the left how that's branded to you and the company, so that you can have collateral pieces taken that are actually branded to you. The tear sheets we have the cover and then have the Commonwealth ad as part of that, so that you actually have the pieces that we're doing, or the ads that we're putting in. Questions on any of the marketing stuff that's out here? And there is really, I'm scrolling down on this to show you, like, it's just so extensive. You know, you can do market activity reports out to the luxury collection. You can do property flyers. And again, you know, don't use these materials unless you're really targeting that luxury market. But if you are, and you've got the luxury properties to put in here, it's a great way to differentiate yourself from things that other people are seeing. There's ads in here if you wanted to start from Facebook ads or Google ads, just do social media posts, do newsletters or mailers that you might want to send out in the mail. But again, anything you do, print it out, make sure you're doing it on the high quality paper. We want to make sure it lives up to the brand and the level of expertise or the level of luxury that we're looking for. Questions so far? Thoughts? All right, so let's talk about, let me go into, I think a good place would be go into the toolkit. I want to talk about the marketing plan piece, because this is a piece where you need to spend some time. Let's go in here, go down to the marketing piece. There was a great article that I found online, and actually I was going to print it out and share with you guys, but there was a great tips on when you're talking to a potential luxury seller. There was 7 tips to really pay attention to or think about before you go into that property. One of them was attention to detail is going to be critical. So number 1 is attention to detail is going to be critical. Making sure you put together good materials, make sure you have a really good handle on what the marketing plan is that you're going to be executing with them. But make sure you really have yourself, if anything, over prepped before you go in, that you're familiar with our luxury websites, you're familiar with the marketing, the programs that are available. Talk to us ahead of time so you'll know what those deadlines are for those upcoming magazines, so you can actually speak to a true marketing plan with that person. Look, if I can get the photographer in here by this date, we can make the deadline for the Prestige Homes magazine, which is in a couple weeks, right? So that actually gives you a true marketing plan that you can help lay out to them when you're sitting across from them. Number 2 is spend extra for the high quality materials and photos. We do, as a company, cover you for the brochures. So you will get your brochures, and you'll get your custom printed brochures that are sent out of house, but do spend the money to make sure you're getting a high quality photographer. And I would say that, again, the majority of these should be having the Matterport. Getting somebody like Carrie that can do the Matterport and the photos and get everything sort of pulled together for you can be a real advantage when you're getting into these high-end properties. You need to, number 3 is really understanding who your buyer is. What is the right target, right? Again, these are not properties that just get put out to everybody. You are looking and you want to attract that affluent buyer. And so we want to make sure that we're telling the right story to the right buyer in the right place, right? It's all about telling the right story to the right buyer in the right location so that it's actually in front of them. Number 4 is making sure that the house is priced right to attract those buyers, just like any property that we're putting out there. For luxury properties, number 5 would be to build a mystique around your property. So when you get into the marketing component, a lot of times with the luxury market, you want to be able to tell a story about that property, right? And if you're going to do a video tour, being able to show a lifestyle of that property, what does that look like? A lot of times when you get into the real high-end properties, you'll see that they actually shoot what they call lifestyle videos. They'll have a wealthy car pull up with a gentleman come in and pour himself a glass of wine in the fancy kitchen, and the wife will come in, right? And it shows what the lifestyle looks like in that house. I saw one done recently, it was within the last year. It was done at an amazing beach property that was on the ocean. And they shot the video, and on the deck were a bunch of people. This is obviously pre-COVID. There were people socializing on the deck with a beautiful beach behind it, and then they panned into the kitchen. So they're showing the house, but they're showing the lifestyle that goes with that. And so you want to consider if that's something that might be warranted for that property. But how can you build a mystique? What's the story of that property? Is there a special history to that property? How do you create sort of that spark and buzz around the property? Number 6 is creating that custom marketing program, which I want to show you some things here in a second, but we've talked about a lot of that. And that's where the tiered marketing program will really help you differentiate yourself, because you will have access to all those magazines and publications without having to spend that money yourself. So most of you know a lot of those publications as an agent, if you were to go out and do that yourself, and you can actually see these numbers out on BHHS resource, because there are companies that don't provide that for their agents. You're talking about $1,500 to $3,000, depending on the publication, to take out an ad for that home. So that's something that's done for you here right at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Commonwealth. So create that custom marketing plan. And number 7, if it's applicable, if you've got a big opportunity and you don't really have the track record or the history and you're concerned, then you do want to partner with someone. Reach out and let us know, and we'll partner you with someone that has actually gone in and dealt with the high-end listing, so that you can have that partner and that traction to help secure that listing if you think you need that to help you close the deal. So those are the top seven tips for working with them. But let's shift down here. A big piece is the global marketing. You'll hear that term, international marketing, global marketing, when you get into the high-end the high-end properties, excuse me. Here's some of the advertising opportunities. So we've gone through a lot of this, the custom brochures, the national and international online exposure, private broker receptions, private showings, professional peer networking, consumer advertising. We've talked about some of the print ad magazines. And then there is a place when you go down here, and I don't know if I included the page, but let me see. I think I might have. There's a page where you can actually put in your own custom marketing plan. So when you create the Toolkit CMA, you can actually outline the steps, taking all of this stuff we put together and create your own marketing plan. It might be at the bottom of this. So questions, thoughts? I know this is a lot of material from a lot of different areas, but I want to make sure when you're looking at this, you're really considering what all the options are, and you're preparing yourself to have the right conversations. There's really good material in here when you look at the toolkit too, talking about, how we attract the right buyer, like through the brochure, how to helping buyers emotionally connect, really what discretion, which is so important sometimes in these luxury properties, timing and communication, how are you going to vet if you do have a true high-end luxury, not just a lower level luxury, how are you vetting those buyers that are going to come in? What are the requirements going to be? Is it pre-approval ahead of time when you get into the higher end properties before someone actually comes into the property? Many of you know Tom Brady's house was listed in Brookline, Chestnut Hill. I don't know if it's actually been back on the market. It was off and then came back on. There's obviously requirements that are put in place. Not everybody can call and book an appointment to go look at Tom Brady's house. Right. So it is set up to be discerning and discreet. I know in that particular case for buyers that are going in, they actually even have to sign a confidentiality agreement. There's no cell phones allowed in the property. So there's different requirements that are even put in place just to get in the property, regardless of the marketing. Questions, thoughts before I dive into the individual tiered marketing? So one thing I want to show you, I'm going to dive into a little more of the tiered marketing. So here is, this is the old one. I apologize that I pulled from the library, but there is an updated one. There is and again, this is for you guys. This is not for the clients, but there is a tiered marketing flyer out there that helps you sort of separate out what the different levels are, what's included, okay? What's automatically syndicated. And some of these things are done, you take care of them, like the photography and stuff, and some of the things the company takes care of and syndicates for you. But so let's start at the Sapphire level. And again, I'm excited that these materials are going to be redone because they're not actually my favorite, but I shouldn't say that, right? again, you never bring more than one of these into a listing appointment. There should be just the appropriate one that applies to that property and the price point. But like it will show you individually, and that's why you want to go into the detailed ones, what that property will qualify for. And so obviously the lowest level one, the Sapphire, has the least amount on it. Do I have these backwards? No. Once we hit the Ruby, then you start to add in the magazine advertising, custom property website, virtual home tours, mobile ad campaigns that are done. There is AdWorks stuff rolled in for this as well. That's where you're getting into the mobile ad campaign stuff. So you want to familiarize yourself with the AdWorks piece that's being included. And at this one, at the Ruby level, which is the 1.5 to 2.5, you get Boston Magazine and you get the BHHS Prestige Magazine and included. Sorry, I moved myself here, so now I can't. Move you guys back over here. Excuse me. Okay. Then we go into the diamond again. Once you get into the diamond, now you're adding into the unique home. And again, it gives you the circulations and everything on here so that you can speak to that and what the average household income is. You also get the DuPont, which I think is mentioned at the bottom here, that those are for properties over 4 million. They go into DuPont registry. So you don't want to throw that into the mix unless you're at the true high level. It does talk about things like Twilight open houses, catered broker previews, right? So it just keeps adding layers as you get to the different tiers. Any question on the tiered marketing? There's lots of collateral material out there for you guys. This was sort of meant to help pull the components together. One, to help discern what the difference is between tiered marketing, luxury properties, and the designations for the agents. But then also to help you sort of understand what kind of materials we do have out there and how you can utilize through the office the best way to put together all those materials. This is the last time I did this, I did it in a classroom, so it was easy to show everybody. And so obviously it's a little trickier under these circumstances, but I did want to make sure you knew where the stuff was on the web and know that each of the offices has the tiered marketing folders set up, and they have the sample magazines to grab and some sample brochures and some sample postcards to grab so that you have the right materials. Additionally, for the luxury properties, we do have luxury sign panels that would get installed, and those only go on luxury properties. Questions, thoughts? I know it's a lot of information in a short amount of time. Any other information that would be helpful to you guys? Most of you on here now are fairly new and haven't had an opportunity to do this. So hopefully this served as a good starting point for you to just sort of, make sure you understand what's out there. I think the biggest thing, if you take nothing else away from this, is that if you have that opportunity, that's going to be a tiered marketing or a luxury property and or both, it might be both, that you make sure you reach out to me or the admins right away so that you can get your dates in order. We can help you make sure you have all the materials. We can do some sample stuff for you. If you have enough time, you might even be able to help you get a sample brochure that has your own information on it if it's warranted, so that you'll have something for your own portfolio to keep going forward once you have that opportunity. I'm going to go back through the questions. Hopefully I had answered some of these as we went through. These luxury and stuff does not include multifamily properties. These are single family properties only. Okay. And you wanted to know if this could be sent to you. This was recorded. So this will be available out in the Well-Trained Agent YouTube library, so that if you want to go back through this, or keep that in mind for when you get closer to that opportunity to better prepare yourself. But I would, if you have some opportunity over the next month or so when you're going in the office for other things, reach out to the admin and ask to see some of the materials and stuff, even if you're not looking to grab any of that stuff at this point, but just so you can see some of the brochures and everything we have. We do have, there's a couple of materials that I don't have digitally, and I didn't have any personally here to show you, but there are a couple of collateral pieces. There's a collateral piece that you can grab that was put out by Berkshire Hathaway that is a really high-end, nice piece well printed, that has all the magazines listed in it with some samples and some data in there. So there are a couple of additional collateral pieces in the office that are available to grab as well that help support the materials that we just went through today. Good. All right, guys. Well, that's all I
Good,
have.
thank you.